Round 2 of the R-Factor 2 GT Pro Series headed from the gloomy, rainy skies of Silverstone to the beautiful weather of the Eifel Mountains, as 30 of the best sim racers in the world took to the infamous Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. Erhan Yujovski's comeback drive at Silverstone sees him top of the point standings, but with the top 3 separated by just 1 point apiece and just 5 separating first and fourth, it would only take one slip up to see others take a huge jump up the table. AAA Esports' Erhan Yujovski took the sprint race win in commanding style, which would see him 10th in the top 10 reverse grid for the feature race. But crowd favourite and Formula 1 sensation Max Verstappen was penalised post-race for this move on Kuba Brzezinski. Because of Verstappen's penalty, Nuno Pinto inherits reverse grid pole position after his 11th place became 10th. Monaco's Manuel Biancalilla would look to capitalise on starting second to score some decent points, while Red Bull's Joni Tormala will want to keep Simoncic at bay. Rudy Van Buren will have a score to settle after Silverstone and starts in 7th, while Nikodem Wisniewski, Kevin Siggy and Yujovski round out the top 10. The rest of the grid is how they finished in the sprint race, with Peter Burlak in the Edge Esports McLaren starting ahead of Yuri Kasdorp in the Singularity Racing Audi. Verstappen was bumped down to 27th. A 2x2 rolling start on the pit limiter starts this series, with the lead driver in Nuno Pinto allowed to drop the limiter anywhere within Sector 3. In the run-up to the chicane, he released the limiter and managed to catch Biancalilla off guard, which allowed those behind him to swamp him on the run into the chicane. Verstappen got a massive jump, but he made contact with Risto Capet, who fired into Kuba Brzezinski, sending him out into the barrier. Biancalilla was also hitting the chicane, spinning him round and dropping him back. With Biancalilla out the way, Tormala and Pinto started to pull away from the chasing pack. While behind, Eunice Ravio made a bold move on Rudy Van Buren into the hairpin. Wisniewski also wanted a piece, with Van Buren pushed off into the gravel, which left him vulnerable to losing more positions. Dennis Lind was hoping to make up for his double DNF at Silverstone in the notoriously difficult to drive Bentley. Sancho's Jan von der Heide tried to have a go at the Lamborghini GT3 driver on the start-finish straight, but Lind was equal to it, and the Dane able to cover off Van der Heide and Kevin Van Duren into turn 1. Back up the front end of the grid, Jurnej Simoncic, Hani Al-Sabti and Wisniewski were nose to tail heading into the chicane. Al-Sabti tried to get the outside run into the chicane and have the inside line for the final corner, but didn't make it work. Al-Sabti's exit of the chicane was compromised, allowing Wisniewski to steal a position. But on the start-finish straight, Al-Sabti used the toe to slingshot past both Wisniewski and Simoncic into turn 1 in a very tightly fought battle. It brought Al-Sabti into the podium positions as Pinto and Tormala continued to pull away in first and second. But it wasn't the only battle going on, as Yujovski had joined in the fight between Siggy, Ravio and Van Buren at the hairpin. But as they came out of the hairpin, Ravio came off the dirt and hit Yujovski, which sent him off to the opposite side of the track. After coming out of the Michael Schumacher S, he was clipped in the rear by Davim Rocek and pitched into a wall. With his rear wing gone, he was out of the race and therefore scores no points. But he wasn't the only one in trouble, as Dennis Lind came out of the final corner side by side with Rocek and almost suffered the same fate. Thankfully, it was only a half spin for the Dane and he continued, but only after losing a bunch of positions and then having to fight with Jimmy Nazula and others into turn 1. But the Bentley lived to fight another day, and he held Nazula off. Verstappen meanwhile had quietly moved up to 13th place when he came up behind Boya Milan on the start-finish straight. At a braking for turn 1 he clipped Dennis Jordan, who in turn hit Yuri Kasdorp, and that sent the Audi into a spin. Von der Heide was in the wrong place at the wrong time as he came up on the stricken Audi and hit it, which wrecked his suspension. Sancho's run of bad luck across all competitions continues. Up at the front, Pinto was starting to struggle with his tyre wear and came under attack at the chicane. Tormala used a better run through the chicane to stick his nose up the inside of the final corner and snatch the lead. From there, he was simply uncatchable. Pinto was now in danger of being taken by Wisniewski too, who could see that he was struggling. After his tag from the Dutchman earlier, Dennis Jordan was able to catch and start to harry Verstappen into the chicane. Just like Tormala, he managed to capitalise on a bad exit from the F1 race winner and took his position back at the final corner. This then put Max under pressure from Milan and Ravio, who had put the metaphorical target on the back of Verstappen's Team Redline BMW. Milan and Verstappen went side by side at the start-finish straight, but Verstappen was not giving up as he maintained his place through turns 1 and 2. But Max had taken too many track limit warnings imposed upon him by rFactor 2's cut detection system, and he received another penalty. After which, he brought the car around to the pit lane again and retired. Redline was not having a good race as Van Buren picked up a penalty for this move on Kevin Siggy. Siggy continued, but his tyres did not like being put through that, while Van Buren came under immediate threat from Burlack, who had made a brave move at the kink on the back straight. But on his return from the pit lane, Van Buren tried to stick one on Dennis Lind under braking for the first corner. Eventually, he made it stick, but his chance to maximise his points haul after Yovski's retirement were well and truly gone. Lind put up a brilliant fight through the Mercedes arena, but his Bentley was not up to the task. 20th was now the property of the Dutchman. As the time limit expired, it was Jani Toomala who took the win, and with it 35 points to jump his way significantly up the championship standings. Nuno Pinto held on to second ahead of Wisniewski, and they too will have made significant inroads into the overall championship standings. But there was still time for drivers to grab a last minute position or two, as Al Sabti, Jordan, Burlack and Milan were battling for fourth. In his attempt to cover off Jordan, Al Sabti accidentally took himself out of the running as they headed for the final corner, and it significantly dropped him down the order. Jordan, Burlack and Milan then had a drag race to the end, with Jordan, just like Pinto, holding on. So it was a dominant win for Joni Toomala in the Red Bull Racing Esports McLaren, who did nothing but pull away from Pinto once he'd passed him. Pinto then had to spend the rest of the race holding off Wisniewski, whose third place meant we saw two Formula 1 teams on the podium. Dennis Jordan maintained fourth after the contact with Al Sabti was deemed a racing incident, while Burlack and Milan will be disappointed to miss out on being so close to a fourth place position. Jonas Ravio took a solid 7th in the YMCA esports car and finished ahead of Jurnej Simicic's Audi, although early calculations actually put Simicic at the top of the point standings, thanks to Jovski and Van Buren having bad races. Kevin Siggy managed to keep on track after his spin to finish 9th, while Arne Schoenfliet rounded out the top 10. Next up for our GT Pro Series races, it's the very difficult Virginia International Raceway in the United States on the 30th of April, which should provide us with some great racing for us to commentate on and for you at home to watch. If you want to join in watching this fantastic series, follow rFactor 2 on twitch.tv/rFactorLive and also support our partners The Race by subscribing to their YouTube channel, where they will be hosting the GT Pro Series and GT Challenge Series competitions on their own live streams. Also a massive thanks to Fanatec and TW Steel for providing the prizes on offer for the winners in this series, and we shall see you on Monday the 30th of March for the race at Virginia. So until then, I've been Aidan Milward for rFactor 2, and goodbye.